Good day, subscribers. It's me, the finance guy, back with a video today, and I have this interesting topic that I want to talk to you guys about. Not always will you be able to find value in some very niche markets. So hold in there with me, guys. Got a really interesting video, and stay tuned towards the end because I think you're going to see something that might be incredible or something that you might not even know about. Some growth stocks have a very hard time of going on a fire sale of really low PE ratios. Some of them remain really high for a very long period of time. Scott S., one of my subscribers on my channel, or at least somebody who frequents my channel, made a point that was very important. Sometimes you can't get a fire sale on a growth stock, especially if they have year-over-year growth and revenue increases. And if you haven't subscribed yet, why not subscribe? Hit the bell for more notifications because I cover a broad base of companies and I look into a little bit further on why I think companies could do better in the future. As always, I'm not your financial advisor, so let's jump into the company today. It is Nvidia.
Josh, the graphics card company that was using their graphics cards to fund their business for Bitcoin, well, Bitcoin is dying, so obviously this company is going to die with it. Duh!
Well, yeah. And this company has changed a little bit over time. It's not just graphics cards now that this company provides services to. And you might be thinking, well, yeah, that's 60% of its revenue and it's going to decrease because there's not as many people going out and buying these GPUs to mine Bitcoin. And you're absolutely right on that aspect. But do I feel not as bullish on the company? No, absolutely not. I'm going to tell you guys why I think that this company has great future potential and why I think it's an amazing growth stock, even though some people might not believe in it.
I'm really excited about what we've done here with Nvidia in building out these supercomputers at Oak Ridge National Labs and Lawrence Livermore. Not only are these the world's fastest supercomputers, but they're really furthering the open science agenda set up by the national labs, by the Department of Energy, and furthering what we can achieve with AI software. The partnership that IBM has with Nvidia is about building two processors and make them available as peer processors, the Power9 CPU and the Nvidia Volta GPU. And we achieve this by using a high-speed interface, the NVLink interface, that enables data movement across both these processors. Together, the processors are able to solve some of the world's hardest scientific and AI problems.
And you might be thinking to yourself, artificial intelligence? You're talking about computers becoming just as smart as human beings potentially in the future, if not smarter? You're crazy. You know, you might be thinking that I'm absolutely insane, but I think the future applications for this is absolutely astounding, and I'm going to dive in on why I think that it's already happening right now. It's the beginning foundations of some great change that I believe could happen in our future, much like the internet was first coming into fruition during the 90s into 2000s than it is today with artificial intelligence and its future.
Well, the reason why we're growing so fast is because the value proposition is absolutely incredible. And this is give you an example of what it takes to do something like inference. So this is 45,000 images per second. It takes 4 racks, 160 CPUs in order to do 45,000 images per second of Resonant 50. And you could do so with 160 CPUs, which consume 65,000 watts. 65,000 watts. Now, if you were to use the platform that I just described, then it looks like this. So 45,000 images, 4 racks, 160 CPUs, 65,000 watts, or 45,000 images per second, one single node with 8 GPUs and 3,000 watts. 1/6 the cost, 1/20th the power, 4 racks reduced into one box.
So what does this mean? It means that this company will be able to reduce the cost of a lot of other companies when it comes to doing this kind of application because it will reduce the amount of area needed for those servers or applications being used. And I think a lot of companies can benefit from that. The second thing to note is it's really powerful. It's super strong, it's compact, and it has a lot of applications for the future development of new learning systems. So let's jump into that.
Imagine this. Imagine there's a whole bunch of binary numbers that comes into your program, and your job is to figure out what kind of flower it is, And several years, I demonstrated for the very first time to a good friend of mine this deep neural network for recognizing dogs, and it didn't do a very good job. But I would like to redeem myself today by using it to recognize flowers. And the beautiful thing is that we're going to recognize flowers that you don't even recognize, so you have no clue whether I'm right or not. And so this is so this is a demonstration of recognition where the audience has no idea whether I'm going to be right or not. But here's the amazing thing. Here's a software that has learned by itself how to recognize these amazing species of flowers from the ones and zeros that comes into this network. If you were to figure out how to write this by software with your own hands, I have no idea where to start. And so let's go ahead and, Matt, are you back there? Let's give him a demonstration. So this is what you're looking at here is called inference, to infer using this artificial intelligence network, and the name of this network is called ResNet 50, to infer what is the flower. Let's stop somewhere so that we can actually see. Can you? Okay, so that's a foxglove. That's a rose. Okay, so far so good. Sword lily, giant arum lily.
That one's
Petunia. Easy. That one's easy. Frangipani. Those words never came out of my mouth before. Pelargonia. Okay, windflower. And so sword lily. I mean, the truth is that I could have put anything up there. You guys probably wouldn't know the difference. But it's amazing. It's able to recognize with superhuman levels of capabilities all of these different types of flowers. What's happening here is that this is running on a CPU. This is the latest generation CPU, Skylake. It's been trained on a framework called TensorFlow. This is using the latest generation CNN network called ResNet 152. 152 layers of mathematics. 152 layers of mathematics, and then it infers that is a common dandelion. And it's running at a performance of images of 5 images per second. And so basically 5 people on their cell phone could have taken a picture of the flower, sends it up into the cloud, and within 1 second's time, 1/1000, it comes back 1 second's time. Okay, billions and billions of cycles, trillions of cycles of electronic cycles later, it comes back and it says that's a foxglove. This obviously, if we would have shown this to you 10 years ago, or even 5 years ago, even 3 years ago, this would have been a miracle. And quite frankly, it still kind of is a miracle. But let's show you what it looks like if we were to run it on the stack that I told you about.
Now, some of you out there might be thinking to yourself, this was the most boring representation of artificial intelligence, and some of you who know about this kind of application and what it could be used for might absolutely be mind blown right now. Because think about the applications. I was actually walking with my lady many years ago talking about how it would be cool to take a picture of a flower that we were interested in or a plant and know immediately what it was. Think about the social media applications. You can take a picture of somebody you see and know who they are as an individual. And that might be scary, but this is the future that's coming. And I think that a lot of people might not even see that. Or think of another application. You're in a foreign country. You see a billboard and it has some written language that you have no idea what it means. You hold up your phone, you take a picture, or you just scan it or look at it, and it automatically sends it to somewhere, translates it back, and displays it on your phone. This is a real life application that could be used just from this alone. Or a doctor's office. Think of a doctor's office. You have a bunch of people that are looking at certain pictures of muscle tissue damage, all kinds of different things, organ damage, and they could all look at this and the computer could say, hey, this is what this is based upon what we've seen in previous pictures. The amount of applications that this could be used for is an absolute modern miracle, and a lot of people just don't understand that this company isn't just a graphics card producing company.
I managed to make it this far through the video, Josh. I'm pretty bored at this point. Do you have something besides flowers to get me excited?
Oh, I do.
What would a car be like if it's not something you get into to get to your destination, but it is the destination? If I had a car that looks like that, I would love to spend an hour a day in it, if not more. AV is going to revolutionize trucking. 3.5 million truckers each year transport 10.5 tons, $750 billion worth of goods across the United States. They're allowed to drive 11 hours a day with 10 hours off. 11 on, 10 off. Recently, with electronic logging devices mandated by law, the day that it was turned on, all of a sudden, the productivity of the trucking industry decreased by a factor of 10 to 12%. That basically says, because there aren't enough truckers, and because we're experiencing the e-commerce explosion, the Amazon effect, where you used to go and pick up your goods at the stores because you went to buy it. Now you bought it on your phone and it automatically comes to your house. Somebody had to bring those goods to your house. Because of those changes in how we consume, the amount of truck drivers around the world is simply limiting. 10 to 12% loss in productivity. Could you imagine multiplying that by $750 billion per year? And so maybe here with autonomous vehicles and level 4 capability, for several hours on the road, we could make it possible for the truck drivers to take a rest and extending their range, keeping up with the enormous demand of the Amazon effect. Trucking could be revolutionized by autonomous vehicles. Now, at the core of all this is all the technology that we're all talking about. And in order to make autonomous vehicles possible, you have to solve this computing problem, this incredible computing problem, the largest scale computing problem of its kind.
So how does this help me today? How does that change my life, and how does this affect me if it's the trucking industry? Well, obviously this will be used for future cars as well, so that could affect you. But another thing that I wanted to point out is the applications of e-commerce growing because of cars being able to get from one destination to another without having as much interaction between individuals and human beings. What change will that affect? Well, in theory, if a computer can adapt and become a better driver than a human being, and boy, I can tell you there's been some pretty crappy people on the road these days, find a turn signal, you're going to find that it will be a safer road to be driving on, even with the applications that we have now with, the Tesla just crashed into the median. You know how many people crash into the median just because they're drunk, just because they're on drugs, just because they're not paying attention, because they're playing on their phones? This is the adaptation that we have brought into this world. This is the e-commerce future that is happening. So let me show you what I believe in proof in the pudding and what I think is coming.
It's just an enormous amount of software. It's just an enormous amount of software, a whole bunch of technology that's never been developed before, a whole bunch of software the world's never written before. And over the holidays, Chen Yi-Chen, one of our engineers, got into the car and drove 8 miles without touching the steering wheel. Homedale, New Jersey, December 19th. He went 8 miles, 23 intersections. 23 intersections. Look at this. No helmet. 23 intersections, 8 hard turns, 2 stop signs. You guys want to see this? All right, let's take a look. Guys, no hands.
This company has an incredible amount of growth potential just based on what I've seen, and it might be just a little, but I could also show you the revenue growth of this company year over year as well, and we'll dive into that. If you really want to go and talk about that, feel free to comment down below, and then we'll jump into my analysis of Nvidia stock. As you can see, this video has become quite long, and I don't want to bore you guys too much. With that being said, I think that this company could never reach a point of ever becoming cheap, especially with these future applications. So I hope you liked the video today. It was a lot longer than I normally make my videos, but it was very important that I also don't just look at value investing. You'd be surprised on the amount of time I spend doing research when it comes to tech, to future applications, to all the trade wars. I do all kinds of research when it comes to picking stocks or what kind of interests me in the moment. It doesn't mean that it's necessarily always a good buy, and it doesn't mean that you can't purchase things at higher evaluations. But I want you guys to be aware that growth could occur with these companies even though they're already growing and they might not reach a fire sale. So I hope you enjoyed the video today, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Subscribe if you haven't subscribed yet, and go ahead and hit that bell. Destroy it, because I make videos all the time covering so many topics when it comes to self-fulfillment, investing, stocks, anything I'm interested for the future when it comes to doing any kind of finance. I'm going to be there for you guys. So I hope to see you guys again next time.
Make sure to do the right